Hi, good afternoon. I guess I'm the last guy standing before you and the drinks. My name is Kamal Anand, and Appcito is a 1.5-year-old company. And obviously, there's a big trend around applications moving to the cloud, and we help these applications become more available, higher performing, and secure these applications. So there is a fundamental change going on in the industry. From firstly, the infrastructure itself is becoming much more cloud-like, to be consumed as a service. The second major trend is the application infrastructure itself. Applications are changing, both in terms of how they get developed, deployed, and operate on the cloud, and moving to much more of what is called a microservices architecture. Rather than having monolithic applications, you have components within that application architecture. And the third big trend is towards the business model. So people want to take their engineers and focus on the core business logic of their applications, not necessarily have to work on infrastructure-like services. So that's why you use compute as a service from cloud providers, you use storage as a service, and we are in the whole application delivery ecosystem, delivering a set of services that are very applicable to these applications. In the traditional data center, these applications today, this is kind of the left side is the architecture that exists today. So you have these things called application delivery controller. That's about a $2 billion market in the traditional data centers. And you have the infrastructure being operated by IT operations. It's very slow changing. The applications themselves are slow changing. And this is all an appliance-based hardware architecture. As you look at what's happening today, the applications are being driven by the application owners, by the DevOps, much more continuous deployment and rapid operations, and it's much more service-based, so people want to consume services. And there are really three entry points where we are participating in this ecosystem. Firstly, at the point where the traffic is coming into the application, we provide a set of services that I'll talk about. Then within these microservices, but as these components are talking to each other, that's a new segment of the market, and we are providing a set of services in that category. And then finally, applications today are making third-party calls, Facebook login, Twilio messaging, etc., and we provide the same set of security, performance, and analytics services, for those applications. So what are the fundamental problems we're addressing? So if you look at the life of a DevOps person who's operating these applications, there are really 4 problem areas that he has to deal with, he or she. Firstly, they need to make sure that application is performing from an end user perspective. Secondly, they need to make sure the application is compliant and secure enough. Thirdly, there is code coming on a weekly, daily basis, and if I'm doing continuous deployment, how do I upgrade? How do I make sure the application is behaving as well today as it was yesterday? And then finally, can I gain some insights into that application traffic, both for improving performance, security, and cost, but also to detect anomalies like attacks, etc., going on in the infrastructure. And that's exactly the kind of problem we are addressing with what we call a cloud application front end, which is sort of a new category of product that we have developed, which sits between users and your application servers, and delivers a set of services that make your application behave better from an availability, performance, and security perspective. No change is required in the application itself. It's a very transparent service delivered on the cloud. Again, there is a category of product in the traditional data centers called ADCs that is about $2 billion market, as I mentioned. And if you look at what Gartner and others are predicting, that's all going to change to become much more cloud native, and that we are part of that sort of ecosystem and transformation. Second, competition to some extent is people trying to use a bunch of open source tools out there that perform some point solutions and trying to stitch it together and make it into a sort of a solution that might work for them. And that is what web scale companies have done, like Netflix and Airbnb, etc. But if you're a mainstream enterprise, you really cannot do this. You don't have the engineering talent, etc. And even if you do all that, a lot of the capabilities are missing from a modern application architecture perspective. So again, we are not addressing the big web scale companies. We are really addressing the mass market or the mainstream enterprise. So what we've built is really a web scale architecture for this app delivery that allows you to have centralized policies, deep analytics and visibility of the application flow, and be able to improve the security and performance of these applications, all in a very flexible and programmable fashion. So really targeting the DevOps side of the enterprise rather than the IT infrastructure folks, because we believe that's how, if you go to the public cloud today, you can consume services as an application owner, as a DevOps. You don't have to go through a process to work through IT, etc. And the same trend is happening now in the private cloud as enterprises move to much more of an agile environment. It is a multi-cloud offering, so we're available on Amazon, VMware, OpenStack, and Windows Azure, and soon available on Docker-based environments as well. I will skip to the team. So the team is pretty experienced both in the domain that we are serving as well as in scaling companies. Between us, we've started 9 companies, 6 acquired by public companies, 2 went public. But more importantly, we have served tens of thousands of enterprise customers with mission-critical applications or mission-critical infrastructure. So we have strong experience in that area. And our investors are of the same type, where they have really focused on this application delivery infrastructure. As an example, an individual called Cheng Wu, who's built out a company that was second largest acquisition by Cisco. Atlas Ventures, similarly very aware of this infrastructure market. Again, our customers love us so far. We are still early stage, and people like Gartner have rated us as a cool vendor for 2015 in the network and cloud infrastructure, 1 out of 5 companies. And people who are Amazon's premier partners, like 8K Miles, that have helped enterprises migrate their applications to the cloud, again, see a lot of value in how they can serve their customer base. So, it's a journey that we are starting, a year and a half old company, but we feel very positive around where we are today. Thank you.